At the same time, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha has vowed that she will not spare any government official in her fight against corruption in the ministry. Nakhumicha disclosed that her attempts to have the EACC investigate malpractices at KEMSA were thwarted by some officials within the ministry, but she was adamant and ensured malpractices came to the fore, and her PS and other senior KEMSA officials shown the door. According to Nakhumicha, there are senior government officials who want to steal money meant for the sick in the country, a vice which she was willing to fight to the very end. The story was produced by our very own Joroge Gatete.
People in this country who are hell-bent to enrich themselves on the backs of patient money. Very shameful. On donor money.
A visibly angry and frustrated Health Cabinet Secretary only fell short of naming a senior government official for the malpractice during the treated malaria net tendering process.
That you cannot assist yourself, you are assisted, but there are people who have grouped themselves to benefit from these monies. I am not going to allow it to happen.
The health CS, who has been battling cartels in the ministry since her appointment, disclosed the hands of senior government officials appear to have been at work all through as she attempted to unravel what would be another huge scandal at KEMSA.
That when I wrote a letter on Thursday, EACC is only a few meters from my office. By Monday, the letter had not arrived. But thankfully, Twalim confirmed to me and said, Madam CS, you don't have to worry. I have already released my officers and they're already at KEMSA doing their work.
According to the CS, someone somewhere could have been calling the shots because the conduct of some of the KEMSA senior officials was unbecoming to her.
A few days in office, I told the CEO of KEMSA, my friend, from today, I want to see pre-qualification through an information management system. And she told me, Madam CEO, the PPOA Act does not allow us to do it, and it is too costly to do it. I told her, I know somebody who will do it for free. And when the person went to visit, the CEO was not present.
CS Nakhumicha says once she smelt a rat, her first step was to stop the procurement mess, and the next was to have a word with President William Ruto, who acted swiftly on her advice.
You cannot be advertising today, the following day you're extending, and the day after you are terminating, and the following day you are saying, okay, we revert back to where we began. So at that point is when I noticed there was a problem.
CS Nakhumicha disclosed that despite the calls for her to resign, she will soldier on and get rid of corrupt officials in her ministry, as well as influential persons interfering with the ministry's work.
We have made the suspension based on their involvement at that level. I personally wrote to EACC and they have come to do a thorough investigation. Should they find that my name is anywhere or I have been involved in any way, I believe your question then will come in handy in terms of knowing what I will do.
The health CS's outburst and the changes at KEMSA 2 days ago follow a trail of transactions that saw suspension of a 3.7 billion shillings global fund tender to supply the ministry with over 10 million insecticide-treated nets for mass distribution later in the year. The principal secretary in the health ministry, KEMSA senior officials and staff from both government institutions have since been kicked out of office by President Ruto. For the former principal secretary, her actions to amend the tender specifications could have cost her.
After the evaluations are done, the report is given to the director of procurement within KEMSA for him to give his opinion. Then after that, it goes to Global Fund. But there was a misstep that this report was first submitted to Global Fund.
At the tail end of the messy procurement process, 2 out of 16 companies listed, Partech East Africa Limited and Shobika Impex Limited, emerged as KEMSA's pick to do business with. The same were, however, found to have failed to meet the mandatory requirements by the Global Fund, leading the Global Fund to take over the procurement itself, and in the process, denying KEMSA close to 600 million shillings in commission from the tender.
We are working on it. We have a whole investigative department that is going to look at where were the loopholes, what were the things that happened, who are the culpable people.
EACC detectives are currently perusing through files and documents from KEMSA to unravel just how messy this procurement process was and who else was involved in it apart from the officials